Welcome to Next Level Conversations. I am Shantae, your host, and I am so glad you guys are joining us on this evening. How are y'all on tonight? We at Next Level, we created Next Level so that we could help women and provide women with actionable tools that they could use in their life to find balance in chaos. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be sharing stories of women who have successfully managed chaotic situations. And our hope with our platform is that you will be inspired, that you will be encouraged, that you will find guidance and inspiration while you are on your journey finding balance in your chaos. Again, I want to thank you all for joining us on this evening. On last week and the last few weeks, we have been talking about reclaiming your identity. And tonight we are going to continue in that journey. And we have our returning guest on tonight, Kesha, who is going to be talking with us about how she unmasked herself and began to reclaim her identity. Kesha, thank you so much for joining us on this evening. How are you tonight?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me back.
You're looking beautiful in all of these array of colors.
Thank you.
So last week you started your story, and you began to tell us how when you were young, you were darker than everyone else in your family, and as a result of that, you considered yourself ugly because people began to tell you for years that you were black and ugly, and so that changed how you saw yourself. And last week it was an amazing story as you begin to unfold and begin to love the skin that you were in, but you were telling us about how you bleached your skin and different things and how you began to hide. And we started talking just a little bit last week about some of the masks that you wore during this process. And so tonight, that's where we're going to pick up about the mask that you had on and how you begin to take those masks off. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the mask that you wore during this time period?
Well, the biggest mask I wore was my hair. That was my biggest asset, was my hair. It was long, flowy, black, very, very pretty. I would get questions as, are you mixed? Is your dad mixed? Is your mom mixed? What are you? Because you have beautiful long hair. I got that question often. So I knew after I continued to get the question, I knew it was something about my hair that people love. I got many compliments, things such as, oh, your hair is beautiful. So I knew, okay, something is beautiful about Kesha, and it was my hair.
But it wasn't, you didn't think your skin was beautiful, but you knew that your hair was beautiful.
You couldn't tell me my hair was not pretty. I knew my hair was beautiful because it was long, it was flowy. And again, most hair looks nappy. My hair didn't look nappy. Had long, straight. I wore a relaxer. So it was flowy again, dark, real pretty. Compliments all the time about my hair. That was the first thing people noticed about me was my hair.
Was your hair. And so did everyone in your family have long hair like this, or was this something that was unique to you?
Everyone had long, beautiful hair.
But everyone had long, beautiful hair, but you were the darkest one of everybody.
Yes.
Did you ever think, maybe I don't belong in this family? Is
Absolutely.
this me?
I thought I was adopted.
You did?
I thought I was adopted. I never fit in. I was always the black sheep because I was the black sheep. But I had the hair just like my siblings did.
So in addition to not thinking that you're beautiful, you're also having these feelings of I don't belong.
Yes.
And you were just as a young girl just going through all of these things. And I remember last week you were telling us that you never even told anybody about the things, the way that you thought and the things that you were going through and the feelings that you were having.
Correct. I kept it to myself, but they knew my hair was pretty. I made sure you knew my hair was pretty. I stayed in the salon from 12 to 14 hours just to make sure my hair was right, because I knew that was the best thing I had going for myself. Nothing else. My hair was going to be pretty.
So you did not see yourself as beautiful.
No.
But you saw your hair as absolutely.
Yes.
And because you were constantly told that. You were constantly told that your hair was beautiful.
Yes. So what I would do, because my hair was beautiful, I hid behind my hair. And the girls in school, sometimes the guys, looked at me as being stuck up, conceited, She thinks she's all that because she has pretty hair. Even in my adulthood, I started a new job, moved to Dallas, started a new job. And I was told, you think you cute because your hair is pretty or long. I thought, wow. In my 30s, I'm being told this in my 30s. So again, I go back to being a kid and thinking, wow, I'm thinking I'm cute because my hair is long, or I'm thinking I'm this because my hair is this. So again, I hid behind my hair. But I knew it was pretty when she said it. I knew it was pretty because she wouldn't have said that, right? But I didn't want her to put me in that space of, oh, you think you it because your hair is pretty. I wanted her to just look at me as Kesha and not because my hair was long.
So let me ask you this. Why was it that it was easy for you to believe that your hair was beautiful when people said it, but it wasn't easy for you to believe that you were beautiful when people said it?
Because I heard my hair was pretty more than I heard I was pretty. All I heard was, you're pretty to be a black girl, or you're ugly, or you're black, or you're dark skinned. I didn't hear you're pretty, just plain you're a beautiful girl. Never heard beautiful girl. I always heard you're pretty to be black. Or again, your hair is beautiful. Are you mixed? So people associate pretty with pretty hair. Mm-hmm. So it kind of came together, but I didn't hear the pretty hair. I mean, the pretty skin. Mm-hmm. I heard the pretty hair.
Wow. And so how did that make you feel?
I still didn't feel good, but I hid behind it. Again, it was my greatest asset.
So when you say you hid behind it, tell me exactly what that means.
I kept my hair done. I was going to keep that hair done. I was not going without getting that hair done. If I didn't do anything else, my hair was going to be fixed, and it was going to be fly. Because you didn't notice I was black anymore. You noticed, oh, she has pretty hair. And that's what hid the ugly face. That's what hid all the crying, the hurt, the pain that I wore behind that mask.
Was your hair. And so I remember you saying that if when you dated people, mm-hmm. if they didn't notice your hair, you had a problem.
I had a problem. Even though when I dated my daughter's dad, he was light-skinned. And you're beautiful. Your hair is beautiful. But if he didn't tell me often that my hair was beautiful, it was an issue. I questioned, do he really think I'm pretty? What is it? What is the hidden agenda? It was always a hidden agenda for me. Never understood what it was about. But he commented on my hair sometimes, but not all the time, because he was one that would say, oh, you think you're all that because your hair is long and pretty. Just look in the mirror, you're beautiful. But I couldn't look in the mirror and see that.
So why do you think people would say that, like, how would you act? How would you carry yourself? What are some of the things that you would say that would make people say, you think you're beautiful, you think you're all that because your hair is beautiful? How are you acting?
Well, I dressed well, tried to dress well. Again, my hair was done every week. Hairstyles back then was $20 to get a relaxer, get a cornrow, get pin curls, get it straight, whatever you wanted. It was $20, so it was cheap to get the hair done. Mm-hmm. So I hid behind the clothes and the hair, and people thought I was all that. When I was really dying on the inside, I was crying and wishing somebody would see the pain, the scars. But they didn't notice that. All they noticed was, she thinks she's all that. She's conceited. I've lost a lot of friends, or I've probably missed opportunities in high school to be friends with certain people because I was the it girl, or I thought I was the it girl. And I really wasn't.
And they had no clue that you didn't like your skin, didn't like the person that you were, had such negative self-talk,
yes,
but you loved your hair.
I absolutely did.
How much time as a kid, as a teenager, how much time would you spend in the mirror?
I wouldn't say in the mirror because I didn't want to see my face.
Really?
So I may have just played in my hair in my room without a mirror. Because I knew I could touch my hair. I knew my hair was long. So I could touch it and feel it, but I didn't look in the mirror because I didn't want to see my face.
Wow. The truth is, I thought that I was the only person who did that. I did. I thought I was the only one who did that because I didn't like the way that I looked growing up. And so I would spend a lot of time in the mirror trying to fix my hair because I didn't have long, beautiful hair. But I would spend a lot of time in the mirror trying to fix my hair, but I would look past myself because I didn't want to see my skin. I didn't want to see my face.
See, I didn't have that issue because I kept my hair done, remember? I stayed in the salon.
Even as a young girl?
Even my mom kept us in the salon. We got our hair pressed every week. Once a week, we maybe got our hair pressed, whatever the case may be. We had our hair done. She kept our hair done. So as a teenager, an adult, I stayed in the salon as well.
Was there ever a time, was there ever a time that your hair was not done and when you were like, I can't present myself
Absolutely.
to the...
I'm not going outside if my hair's not done. If my hair's not done, I'm not going outside to play. I'm not going outside to do anything.
Really?
I couldn't mess up my greatest asset.
Wow. So let me ask you this. Because we've been talking about awareness, one of the things we've been talking about and teaching on as we've been helping people work through reclaiming their identity and transforming their life. We talk about awareness and how to become aware and figuring out where you are so that you can figure out where you're going. At what point during your adult life did you realize that you had become so dependent, or even during your life period, what point did you realize that you had become so dependent on your hair?
It had to be my late 20s, early 30s when I started to get and hear from other women. As an adult, oh, you think you're all that because you have long hair, or they misjudge me because of my hair. So I had to just, again, reevaluate what I was doing to myself. I was losing people, or maybe with the wrong people because of my hair. They thought I was one way and gravitated to me because they thought I was one way, but I wasn't. So what I had to do was just take a step back. And at that moment, I started to cut it. And I started to clip it, cut it, do different things with it. And eventually, I ended up with no hair. I turned 40, and I cut it all off.
Okay, so this is where we're about to get into how you begin to take the mask off, because I was going to ask about the circumstances that brought you to the point of unmasking yourself when you realized that it's time. And you're saying that your revelation that it was time for you to remove this mask was as a result of all the people that you were losing, but they didn't understand you.
They had no clue of what was going on inside, internally.
But this was because you weren't talking.
Correct. I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed. How can you tell someone, I think my hair is my greatest asset because I think I'm black and I'm ugly? I couldn't say those words together. So I just went along with it. And when I got to the place where I had to just reevaluate my life, I didn't care anymore.
And for the people who were not watching last week, one of the things, and I'm gonna come back to it, I don't want to take away from it, but I want to bring it all the way back full circle. One of the things that you did to yourself, because when we're in this point of our identity is lost and we're harming ourselves, even if we're not physically harming ourselves, we're harming ourselves mentally and emotionally.
Yes.
One of the things that you did was you were intentional about not dating anyone dark skinned so that your children would be light skinned and would have long, beautiful hair.
Yes, I was very intentional about that. It was not happening. It was not happening. I started to realize that it was okay to date someone that was dark skinned. And I did in college, my first dark skinned boyfriend. He was a great guy. But again, I kept resorting back to the light skin. It wasn't because he did me wrong. It was because, okay, I don't really like this dark skin. But I do, but I don't. So I kept going back and forth with myself about it. So ended up going back to a light skinned guy and continued to date light skin.
Let me ask you this. Your daughters, and this is before we get to the unmasking part, because you were so intentional about and so wrapped up in your hair and that being so beautiful. How did you handle your daughters at a very young age? What are some of the things that you said to your daughters at a very young age? Did you make them dependent on their hair, condition their beauty and stuff on their hair, or play in their hair and make different statements like that where they became connected, identified by their hair?
Never. I didn't want them to feel the pain that I felt. I wanted the girls to live in their truth. I wasn't living in my truth. I was living a lie. I wanted my girls to live in the truth, and they did. They've never told me, My hair was my greatest asset. My baby girl just cut her hair off from last week. She had long hair. She cut it off. So I get upset about it, but it's her hair. I let her live her life. I have to let her live her life.
So even as young kids, as you're being intentional, because you were intentional, and I say intentional because one of our pillars is also intentionality. And we can be intentional in good ways, and we can be intentional in negative ways towards ourselves. And so you were intentional about birthing certain children that looked certain ways, that had certain attributes, so that they could have a certain life. So when they were kids, you never commented on their hair?
Oh, absolutely. Your hair is beautiful. You're beautiful. But I did what I did because I did not want them to not understand or need validation from other people, from men per se. I felt like if they heard it from somewhere else other than mom or dad, they wanted it from a man.
Okay.
So I made sure and I reassured the girls they were beautiful. They had beautiful hair. They had beautiful skin, beautiful bodies, whatever it was. They were beautiful, big, small, tall, short, whatever it was. They understood that they were beautiful no matter what.
So even at the time that you yourself had not started the work to heal, you were raising your kids in an environment and in such a way that you wanted to be raised, and giving them the love, the affirmation, and helping them be comfortable in their skin.
Absolutely.
All while
I'm living a lie. I'm living a lie. Yes.
So as you looked at your girls and as you looked at yourself during this time period, when you're hearing yourself say things to them and tell them how beautiful they are, and you know that you're living a lie, how does this make you feel?
I was wishing I had someone to tell me that, but I didn't.
And you were still speaking to yourself in a negative way during this time period?
At that time period, I was. But as I continued to tell them how beautiful they were, how I loved them, how just everything I spoke to the girls, I think it just started to manifest with me. And I was able to open up and unmask, to take it off. You know, just layer by layer, I took layers off each and every time I spoke to them. When I saw them, I saw their faces. They would tell me, "Mom, you're so pretty. Mom, you're so..." And I thought, okay, they're my kids. They're supposed to say I'm pretty. But they actually meant that I was really pretty. They wanted to be like mom. They wanted to wear mom's clothes, have mom hairstyles, wear mom perfume. Whatever it was, they wanted it to be like mom.
So let's talk about the unmasking. Let's talk about the day, the moment, the hour. Take us to I want you to set us up as best you can to tell us the lead up and then that moment when you looked in the mirror and you realized, I'm done hiding.
Well, the grand moment was I was looking in the mirror and I have psoriasis in the scalp.
Oh.
So
what exactly is that?
it's a skin condition in my scalp. They call it dandruff, but mine's is a little worse. Looking in the mirror, I'm tired of dusting my shirt off or whatever I have on my jacket. I'm tired of people coming and dusting me off. I felt like, okay, you know what? I'm keeping this hair because it's my greatest asset. But at that moment, I realized something had to go. I couldn't continue to have people dusting me off and having the flakes, the dry skin in my ears and in my face, my eyelashes, my eyebrows. That moment, I knew it has to go. And at that moment, I was freeing myself from holding on to that hair. So I freed myself by I had a pixie cut. Beautiful pixie cut. Loved it. Would have kept it. But it continued. My hair is my greatest asset. Even though it's short now, it's still my greatest asset. Still my greatest asset, even though it's short. I realized this has to go. I'm not free.
So even after, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. I have a bad habit of that. Even after shaving your hair, you still, because that was just external. You hadn't begun to do the work internally.
Correct.
So how many years leading up, because you said you had, people would have to dust you off, and that's really a very interesting thing all within itself. The thing that is your greatest asset is causing embarrassment
Yes,
to you.
yes,
And so you had to even work through that.
yes. I had to think, okay, what do I do? Get my hair washed every week or grease my scalp, do something so it wouldn't show. But it showed anyway. It reared its ugly head.
Do you think that was God? Do you
Absolutely.
think that was God picking at you like, it's time for you to do something. It's time for you to do
Yes.
something. How many years did you deal with that?
Since I was 15. 15. So when I realized, okay, I'm tired of doing this. I'm tired of going to the salon to get my hair done. I'm tired of paying all this money now. I'm tired of holding on to this baggage because it was baggage. I let it
felt
go.
heavy.
Yeah, it was a burden.
Your hair.
Mm-hmm.
But was it actually your hair, or was it what you had your hair represent?
Both. Both. So the first thing was the psoriasis. I had to let the psoriasis go. My only way to let it go was stop the relaxers. So,
Oh, okay.
in stopping the relaxers, it meant that my hair was going to curl up. My hair was going to look nappy. I never seen my natural curl pattern. So at the moment when I cut it all off and it started to grow back, I saw my natural curl pattern. And I said, I'm never getting a relaxer again.
Interesting. Isn't that so powerful?
Yes, it was.
We work so hard to be something else. And the thing that is naturally us is so beautiful and powerful and so unique.
Yes, it was. But it was an issue with that too.
It was.
It was an issue with that. I was married at the time. And me having short hair like him, having a fade, I don't think he really liked it. So he would say little things, make me feel some kind of way. So I grew it back, put a relaxer back on my hair. Here I am again. Psoriasis just flared up really bad.
Really?
Again, I'm back at, okay, you know what? Let it go again. I'll let it go again. And I never had an issue with my psoriasis again. I love my natural curly hair. I love it. Never going back to a relaxer. I will go bald if I had to. Because I'm free.
And you felt free. You felt free when you not when you cut your hair the first time. Was it hard for you to look at yourself in the mirror when you first cut your hair?
At first, because I would wake up 3 o'clock in the morning to put a full face of makeup on.
No.
So that I looked like a girl.
No.
Go to work, and I would apply for jobs, and I felt like, oh, I'm not going to get this job because I'm bald. They may not hire me because of this. I have my ex-husband at home looking at me, you know, maybe he didn't like me because my hair was bald. I ended up, again, letting it grow back because I felt like I couldn't get hired on. Then I started seeing a lot of other women walking around on the news, everywhere, with the same haircut. And they were beautiful. And I said, you know what, I can go back to it again. And I did. And my hair just flourished. I went to the hair salon, to a natural stylist, and she said, give me 6 months. And I did. I trusted her. I trusted the process. Now my hair is beautiful. Wow. I wouldn't have it no other way. No other way. Never going back to relaxer.
Let me ask you this. One of our other pillars that we talk about here at Next Level is the pillar of consistency. Mm-hmm. Because once we start things, we need to learn how to consistently stay in our healing. Mm-hmm. What is something, now that your hair is gone, how do you consistently reinforce for yourself that you're enough?
I talk to myself. I tell myself I'm enough. My kids tell me I'm enough. They let me know, Mom, you're worth it. You deserve more. They tell me all the time. My baby girl, she reminds me a lot. she reminds me a lot. She tells me, you deserve more. You deserve better. You are beautiful. You don't need all that to be pretty. You don't need makeup to be pretty. We do put on makeup to look pretty, mm-hmm. right? I don't need it, but I do. I want to enhance it. So you'll never catch me in a full face every day. You'll catch me on natural days, most of the days. But because I'm here today, yes, I had to enhance it a little bit. But yes, I'm normally natural.
Let me ask you this. Mm-hmm. What do you, looking back over your life and over your journey, and I want to talk a little bit about the unmasking and the things that you unmask. But my first question is, as you look back over your life now, sitting here looking back now, mm-hmm. what do you think was the core of your pain, and how How did you discover that?
I didn't discover it until probably about 5 years ago.
Really?
I was in a learned environment. The environment that I was in, it was a domino effect. It just trickled down. And because I was in that environment, it caused me to do the same thing that was happening generation after generation. So that's how 5 years ago I realized it.
And what was it?
I was told this happened to me. I've been through this. I have the psoriasis. I have everything that I've gone through, been through, someone else had been through in my family.
So you think the core of your pain was not your pain, but the pain of the people before you.
It was.
They transferred their pain to you.
Not intentionally.
I know, it's never intentional.
You know, and at that moment, I was angry with them.
Really?
I was so angry, so hurt. And when I heard this story, I was able to forgive them and able to move on with my life. So that's when my healing started to just turn around. My entire world shifted and turned because I didn't understand, why would you say that? Why would you do that? Until about 5 years ago.
And so now that your hair is gone, and now that you have gotten comfortable with being in your skin, black, beautiful, all of you, full of color, full of life, because you are amazing.
Thank you.
What have you discovered about Kesha?
I'm enough. I am enough. And that's what I have discovered. I don't have to have on all these colors. I don't have to have on the finest, the latest, the greatest. I don't have to have hair. I don't have to have makeup. And I can still be enough. And that's what I've discovered.
And that is true power. That is true power.
I took it back.
That is.
I took my power back.
That is. And as we're getting ready to wrap up this segment, and we're going to open it up so that the audience can give you some questions. I want to ask you this last question. One of the things that we talked about on last week, and one of the things that you had to deal with during this time period as you hid yourself from the world, not just your skin and hid behind your hair, your voice.
Oh.
You did not love your voice.
I hated it.
And one of the things that you have reclaimed is your voice, which is so powerful. It's so powerful. And you're using your voice to now share your story. How does that feel?
It's amazing because I never would have guessed my voice could be soothing and calming to someone else. Or I could be telling my story on this platform or to you. I am so amazed and I'm so grateful and thankful to God because, again, like I said last week, I didn't go through this for Kesha. I went through it for someone else. So me being able to use my voice, my power, I'm grateful for it because someone just like Kesha, the deep voice, the dark skin, whatever it may be, I can help them. They will take my advice and apply it to their life because they see them in me.
That is amazing. So as we wrap up, what is the one thing that you want to say to that girl, to that woman?
Girl, you are beautiful. No matter what color you are, no matter what shape, you are beautiful and you are enough. Take your power back.
Yes, we love it. We love it. We love it. Kesha, I want to thank you so much for joining us on the show and sharing your story of how you reclaimed yourself. It is beautiful. It is a beautiful story. You are a beautiful woman and you are full of so much power and full of so much greatness, and we appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
We do. Kesha's story is a reminder, and as she just said, it reminds us of how powerful we are and being intentional about never letting the words or the actions of others make us lose ourselves. We are perfect in our original form, and I want you guys to understand that. As you start the journey of reclaiming your identity, reclaiming who you are, know that you are supported, know that you are loved, and Kesha has given us some great tips about even shedding the things externally that we hide behind that will keep us from being who we are. We thank you for joining us. We want to remind you to connect with us. We have been doing a 75-day challenge on being consistent. I want you guys to jump in and join us. Post a picture of yourself. We've been working on our different pillars, consistency. Make sure you hashtag NextLevel75. And if you take a picture and post it, you might find yourself in the issue of the June issue of Next Level magazine. And speaking of, I want to remind you guys to download the new edition of Next Level magazine, issue 2. It is now available. Permission to Dream. And because you guys love this talk show so much, I want to remind you all to connect with us on our podcast as we interview our special guests and we talk about all sorts of things to help you make it to the next level. Know that we love you, know that we thank you, know that we appreciate you for everything. And as we get ready to transition to the next segment, I want to thank you guys and let y'all know how much we appreciate you. Thank you for watching.